What is this place?
Pan America Airstream. 34 feet 7 inches long, 8 feet 5 inches wide. Dimensions which are perfectly adequate for one person. Preferable, even.
This is where you live?
No, I don't live here. This is a storage unit. That would be weird.
That's what would be weird?
I'd like to spend more time here. However, I'm afraid some of my clients might follow me.
Why would your clients follow you? You're an accountant.
And that's a clip from The Accountant. It stars Anna Kendrick and Ben Affleck. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having us.
I'm only laughing because there is some drilling going. It's either drilling or it's a machine gun. In the
Or
spirit
a
of,
very loud cat.
or a woodpecker.
Hey. Sorry, I thought that joke would work better. That's fine.
Yeah.
It worked okay.
No, it was pretty good. Anyway, so I'm sorry. Sorry. Anyways, big lot of noise. So The Accountant. Ben is the accountant. But actually, Anna, you're kind of the accountant. You're an accountant.
Yeah, I think the movie's definitely titled after the supporting character of Dana.
Okay, well, let's start with Ben then. Tell us about your accountant.
Yes,
Tell us
I play a guy
Christopher
who's a very gifted at math and numbers, and is high level accountant, but he's doing his work for criminals at the beginning of the movie. And at the outset, we're not sure what to make of that or of him. And, there's a series of reveals in the movie and surprises and twists, and I don't want to give too many of them away, but nothing is exactly what it seems. And this character is one of the things I was drawn to about him is interesting and enigmatic and multi-layered.
So what you're saying is he's not your average accountant.
Right, exactly. There's nothing is what it seems in this movie. Okay. Exactly.
So Anna, you're good with numbers as well. You're kind of an accountant as well. So explain where you fit into the story.
Yeah, she's an accountant in the traditional sense, where she is not also an assassin and a criminal. So she's like the boring. She's the movie that you don't want to see. And yeah, she uncovers some problems in the books at the company she works for, and kind of. It's one of those classic doesn't realize what she's stumbled upon things, and she assumes that she's going to be a part of the financial investigation. And when Ben's character shows up, he is a little bit confused by that, and she sort of just worms her way into the process, and they end up trying to piece the puzzle together as a team, however reluctant it begins.
Yeah, it's fair to say, Ben, your character Christian doesn't really welcome anybody else into his world.
One of the things that's interesting about it is I think he's a guy that wants connection, and actually really on some level is like getting a lot out of his experience of working with Anna's character, and that interaction is just not able to express it in this sort of conventionally normative way that he's got some sort of things that are holding him back from being able to socialize in the way that other people can. And so it was really interesting to see, to do these scenes with her where he was really, where there was something that really drew him to her, but that he couldn't express it and he couldn't connect with her exactly. And it made it, fun to play.
Yeah. And in flashbacks, we see how we see your backstory, and your character has high functioning autism.
Right. He's high functioning is autism, sometimes called Asperger's syndrome. And his father was so afraid that he would be a victim, that he sort of, and he was a military guy. And so that was the world that he kind of knew. He wanted to make his son tough. And so, he sort of like, the great Santini kind of thing, just drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled these military exercises into his kids. And because I have a brother in the movie as well. And I found it kind of moving, strangely, this idea that this abuse kind of came from a place of love, really, and fear, and being protective of his child.
And how do you shape this character, Ben? What research? Who did you meet to? Because obviously, some movies in the past have been criticised for portraying autism as like a superpower, which it clearly isn't. How do you avoid the stereotypes and the cliches for a movie like this?
That was really important to me, and I went into this very gingerly in working with experts and teachers, and then sitting down with a group of men who were on the spectrum at various places, and sort of tentatively said, hey, look, is this okay? Or this is one of the ways this happens in the story. And the people that I worked with were just they were like, it's great. It's fabulous. We love the fact that there's an autistic character at the center of this movie. You know, don't change it. Don't take it out. And not only did they love that, but they had a lot of like suggestions and tips from behavior and ways they would say, yes, I know what this is like. I feel this way, or I haven't had this experience. And so to me, it was important to root it in the real experience of real people. Now, granted, no two autistic people are exactly the same way that, you know, no two neurotypical people are the same. But you know, I just want to find some behaviors that were honest.
But I wonder if you were attracted by the script, actually, that it was that it's quite unusual in the shifts of tone. It's, you know, it is an all-out thriller action movie, but then at times it's also quite a light-hearted drama.
Yeah, I thought that was, you know, the originality of the script was the first thing that really drew me to it, and the fact that, you know, it was surprising and there were reveals that I didn't see coming, and also the multi-genre fusion I thought was really brave and really interesting, and I thought the writer pulled off, like, as you say, the elements of action and suspense and thriller in combination with, you know, comedy and drama, and you know, it made it really interesting. So I didn't sort of know exactly what to expect from the first minute to the last.
Apart from the research that you were talking about in terms of talking to people with high-functioning autism or Asperger's, that I imagine you have to do quite a lot of training and stunts and so on. I don't know how that compares with what Anna had to go through, and the whole rigorous process of numbers and accounting.
Yeah, I know. It was definitely. I can't speak to Anna's preparation, but I can say that the fight stuff was a lot of, you know, just a lot of work. You know, kind of rote, you know, rehearsal, doing it over and over again, and trying to get in shape enough where you can throw somebody over your back, and, you know, do the stuff that Penn talks a lot, this martial arts style that Gavin incorporated into the movie.
Director, yeah.
The director, yeah. You know, is very sort of flashy and showy, and yet kind of ruthless and efficient at the same time. So it suited the character.
How does that compare with your training for the part?
Well, my training was just like really nice, long conversations with my mom, who was helping me. She's an accountant, so she was helping me make sure that I was never saying something that I didn't understand, which was, in my opinion, a lot better than fighting dudes.
Are you easy to direct, Ben, given that you are a hugely successful director, and also Live by Night is not far away now?
Well, thank you for the plug. And I
love the Hosier music over the trailer, by the way.
Yeah,
what a fantastic
track. It's a great song. Yes, I think I'm very easy to direct because I only work with directors who, you know, at this point in my career, who I really trust and who I admire and who I can learn from, and in whose hands I feel safe. And I think the best way to work as an actor with a director is to totally surrender yourself to their vision and their direction, and that, and, you know, so I'm willing to do that with the directors that I work with, and it makes it really easy because I want to be going in the same direction. And it's not that I don't try to, you know, volunteer ideas or collaborate in any way. I think, you know, all actors, or the vast majority of actors do, but I also have a very strong sense of trying to complete the director's vision.
I wonder whether there's an element, from just bearing in mind everything that you just said, whether there's an element of Bruce Wayne in Christian Wolf?
There is, I suppose, in the kind of secret identity aspect of it, you know, him having multiple identities, you know, being one person on the surface and then another person and underneath. And there's definitely, I guess the other parallel I would say is I think Batman is the kind of real person's superhero. I think that's what makes him so appealing, is that he's actually not super. He's just a man trying to do this, and so he's as vulnerable and as any of us. And this is a story about like a guy who's built a lot of compensatory mechanisms to handle his vulnerabilities as well.
Yeah. And is he looking for a Robin? This has been discussed, and I've also seen the footage of Anna.
The footage of me very seriously vying for the role.
We found that some people did not realize that was a sketch, which was kind of amazing.
Which is amazing because, as sketches go, we weren't really going for realism.
We weren't too committed, no.
We were really, I mean, I literally appear magically in a cape. But, I mean, that was my very real technique.
Dressed as Robin.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would be a very believable Robin if Robin was known for being really bad at fighting crime.
And are you directing?
That's the idea. I'm not directing it yet. I haven't started it yet. We don't have a start date. We're not finished with the script. But
you would like to direct?
I would like to, yes. I've announced my intention to.
So you are in charge. So if you wonder, Robin...
exactly. Up in the air. I guess so.
Trolls is out as well, which you've done with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
And Pitch Perfect 3, how far off is that?
I think we're supposed to start that finally in January. I'm just waiting for the big red phone to ring when it comes to that one. I've given up on trying to keep track.
The big red phone takes it right back to Batman, by the way, in my head. Because
I was thinking of like a presidential...
Thinking of like the Russian prime minister.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. The nuclear codes.
And you're on Twitter, but you have like 20 million people following you. So it isn't a surprise, I think, from anyone who's been following you to know that you've got that you've done some writing, and you have a book of essays.
Yeah, it's sort of
scrappy little nobody.
It's extraordinary because BuzzFeed has said I'm very funny with 140 characters, and someone made the decision that meant I could write a...
How many characters did they give you to write the book?
More. A few more. So yeah, I don't know. There was a point where I was like, is anyone gonna stop me? Like, there's no way that I can do this, right? And yet it has happened. It's very exciting.
And when is that coming out?
November 15th.
There was also, I saw an exchange where you were doing you did a really strange Twitter question and answer session in which you got questions like, what's your favorite meal? And if you were an animal, what kind of an animal would you be? So I mentioned on Twitter that I was coming to meet you, and I got these questions. So please deal with them with all the seriousness
I love this.
that they're appropriate.
Yeah.
In the light of recent currency news, should investors consider divesting from UK gilts? Anna?
I really, really hope somebody actually asked me that.
Well, I'm asking you now. Do you think we should divest of UK gilts?
Yes, immediately.
Okay, Ben, are you aware of the 10% tax credit on dividends that has been abolished?
I think that's a healthy thing for the economy.
And a question to both of you, if I could. What do you think of the move to the QuickBooks style of cloud-based accountancy?
It's a terrible mistake.
I think it's more functional.
You think?
Well, we disagree on this point, then.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on this. I don't know how many
times.
Well, I could always ask what your favourite meal is, but I think that got to the heart of the current debate.
I'm glad you came to us with this.
Is it only 10% you pay taxes on your dividends here? So the capital gains tax is only 10% in the UK?
What are you asking me for? I don't know. You're the accountant.
I'm the accountant, that's true. But in America, we don't know British tax law.
Yeah, no, it's this 10% tax credit on dividends being abolished. Anyway, I don't know. I just wrote it down. It sounded like an interesting, controversial issue for accountants to discuss. Ben Affleck and Anna Kendrick, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for having us.